Hello friends of the electrified charging fun and welcome to Speicher Elektrisiert, your channel all around Skoda's e-mobility. My name is Matthias and today we do a test drive. To be more precise, a test drive on my Alpine route here, 160 kilometers of highway, national road, country road and city, to see what the consumption of my ENYAQ are under summerly conditions. It's 30 degrees outside, it's a beautiful day. And we will have a look at the estimation of the navigation for the state of charge when reaching some destinations on our way. Also, I do a bit of a chat around the words of the CEO from Volkswagen, Oliver Blume, which he told to the press at the International Automobile Exhibition, and my opinion on that. So, let's go. First of all, a bit to the general conditions for this test drive. I have 20-inch wheels on my car with an Hankook Ventus S1 Evo 3, which was delivered with the car, and you can see the tire dimensions right below. It's a 255/45 on the rear axle, and on the front we have a 235/50. Let's have a quick look at the general conditions within the car. I will drive in B mode, and my profile for the DCC is set to normal. The air conditioning is running. I have 22 degrees for the driver's seat. For the passenger it's eco. As you can see outside it's 29.5 up to 30 degrees Celsius. And I already nailed all values so that we have the precise consumption after the drive. Of course, I've activated my car scanner via the OBD2 dongle, and as you can see here, my battery is already up to 25 degrees Celsius. That's pretty cool. Outside we now have 30 degrees. It says my state of charge is 84%, and you can see it there, it's 84%. And of course, I will log all data throughout the test drive, so we are able to compare it with the winter drive and with the drive which represents spring and autumn at the end of this video. And now we will start driving and we will hear each other on the way. Before we start the test drive, let's have a look at the route. You can see it here. I start from Mels. I will drive all the way up to Davos, where the first stop will be. And this is mainly national road, country road, with about 1,000 meters in height. Then we drive from Davos to Thusis, where we will reduce the height again. We'll have a lot of regeneration with the electrical engine, and then we drive back via Chur to Mels, where there's a lot of highway on the route. And right now, the estimations of my car are the following. As you may know, it doesn't show percentage here. You have to look for the details if you tap on it. And we are starting with 48%. And it says at Davos we will be down to 67%. In Thusis we will be down to 55%. And when I reach home again, I will be down to 40%. So now we will start the drive and let's see how good the navigation is with its assumptions, taking into credit that we have a lot of different driving and a lot of altitude. I'm already near Davos, the first stop, but I think now is a good time to have a little chat. A chat about what Oliver Blume, CEO of Volkswagen, says to the press at this year's International Automobile Exhibition in Munich. Well, this year's exhibition, it definitely stood in the sign of the dragon, meaning the Chinese automotive companies really stood out of the crowd with their electric vehicles, don't they? And Oliver Blume told us the following. He said, "We, Volkswagen, do not fear the Chinese competition. Yes, they have learned to build cars in the recent decades, but we as established players in the market still have advantages." And then he named 3 advantages. The first one is quality level, the second one is car building know-how, and the third one is brand heritage. And then he told us this is something the new players on the market don't have. So he feels very well positioned in the market and for the future. Whoa! Really, Mr. Blume? You think so? I have my doubts about it, because honestly, when I look at the exhibition, maybe he was at another exhibition, I don't know, I saw some very strong competition he better fear, because to be honest, the Chinese dragon is able to eat some German curry sausage from Wolfsburg for breakfast and then flush it down with some Czech Pilsner just for pleasure. That's at least my opinion. To be honest, I don't know how much bonus payments are flooding through Mr. Blume's head when he says something like he did on this exhibition. But let's have a closer look to his statements. Let's see what he is talking about. Well, first off, he says quality level. And just a minute later he says the Chinese competition has learned to build cars. So basically he says quality level is not exclusive anymore to established players, and the exhibition shows it. Look at an Xpeng G9, look at the Neo ET5. These are at least on par with German car manufacturers, or sometimes they are even better than the Germans. The next one he told us is car manufacturing know-how. Yeah, that might apply to combustion engines, but not for EVs. In the electric car market, they are as new as the Chinese ones. There, the established player is called Tesla and no one else. So he has no advantage when it comes to electric cars. And Volkswagen shows this with their MEB platform. So I don't see that advantage. And let's talk about the last one. This is a very special one, isn't it? Brand heritage. And brand heritage, he means this is trust from the customer to the brand, and though loyalty of the customer. But loyalty must constantly be earned through trust. And that is something Volkswagen didn't do in the recent years. Let's talk about all those trust issues. Trust is earned with a transparent and open communication. They don't do that. Trust is earned when you start delivering promises you made. They don't do that. Trust is earned when you keep up to what you're telling people. None of this applies, in my eyes, to Volkswagen right now. So, from all three arguments he told us, I don't see any as an advantage of Volkswagen right now. And also, I find those arguments quite arrogant. And arrogance is the last thing which Volkswagen should have right now. Instead of being arrogant, it would be much better for Volkswagen to be more humble and more respectful. Because that's what the Chinese did the last 15 years in the EV market. They started to learn, they started to listen, and thus they started to build cars on par with established players, or even better. And for Volkswagen, this should be the way to go, to learn from their competitors on how to do it. Or else they will be in really, really rough waters. Because what is really of interest for electric cars? It has changed. It's the design, and the Chinese competition knows how to design cars. That's what we are looking for. It's not technology. Technology is merely the same. We are looking for a stable and fast software running in the car, which is updatable. And we are looking for usability. We are looking for usability in the software. We are looking for usability in the cars. And all of this, what I'm telling right now, is nothing which Volkswagen provides with the MEB platform right now. They have a lot of things to improve here. So for me, Mr. Blume told something he shouldn't do. It would be much better to be humble and respectful. What do you think? Write me in the comments. Are you on the same page as Mr. Blume, or are you more with me? Let's discuss it. So, and now I'm back on the track because I'm really close to Davos, and then we will have a look at the values from the first stop. I have reached the first stop here in Davos, and I'm down to 62%. That's 5% odd to the initial estimation of 67%. Let's have a look at the battery. It's now 29 degrees. That's a really good temperature, and so we could hope for really good consumption values. Let's have a look at them right now. There you have it. It's 25.4 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. That's a really good number if you compare it to the winter drive. Well, the winter drive up here, there we talk about a consumption of 32.8 kilowatts. And in the autumn time, it was 29.5. So we are really good here. And now I will continue to Thusis. And right now, the navigation has corrected its estimations due to the new state of charge. And we will have a look at it. I'm just pulling it out here for you. There you have it. Now he says I will hit Thusis with 48% instead of 55%. And he says I will be at home with 32% instead of 40%. But I would keep with 40% because now down to Thusis I will lose a lot of altitude, and so I will regenerate a lot of energy. Let's see what will happen when we hit Thusis, and now I'm on my way to Thusis. I have arrived in Thusis, my second stopover on this test drive, and as you can see I'm here with 60% SoC. This means initially he was wrong 5%, 5% too low, and in Davos he said I will arrive with 84% SoC, so he was 12% lower than I really arrived with. Let's have a look at the battery. As you can see, it has 30 degrees right now outside, nearly 30 degrees. And now we have a look at the consumption values. You can see it here, it's 15.6 kilowatt hours. And if you compare this with the values from the winter, there it was 22.6 kilowatt hours, and in autumn and spring 20 kilowatt hours. So I'm really lower than in other seasons. And now let's see what the navigation tells me with which SoC I will arrive at home. And now he is up to 47%. So initially he was at 40%, that's 7% more. And don't forget about Davos, he was at 32%, so 15% more. This is just because I drove a lot of alpine passes. I went up to Davos and now down to Thusis, and as you can see, he is not able to calculate that really well. Now I go home and we will see what the final stats of this test drive are. So the test drive has come to an end. I'm back home much later than expected because I had a traffic jam which took about 25 minutes. That compromised the statistics of this drive, unfortunately, but hey, I cannot change it. I'm here with 48% state of charge. And if you think about it, in Thusis, the car told me I will arrive with 47%, so that's really precise. But initially it's at 40%, so it's 8% better than expected. Well, the traffic jam has an influence on this. It's due to holiday endings, and it seems that everybody wants to drive home on a Friday afternoon, and so yeah, I lost 25 minutes. Let's have a look at the statistics. As you can see, 15.8 kilowatt hours for 100 kilometers and an average speed of 54 kilometers. That's 5 kilometers an hour less than on the other drives, and the time speaks for itself. It's way longer. Let's compare it with the stats of winter. In wintertime, I arrived with 2.42 hours of driving and with a consumption of 21.6 kilowatt hours. And in autumn spring, it was 19.7. So basically, I'm really better in the consumption in summertime. This is also due to the battery temperature. You can see it here. We are up to 32 degrees right now. Let's round this thing up. If we compare these three test drives, we have the winter test drive, which was in conditions from +1 degree Celsius down to -14 degrees Celsius. In autumn spring we had 0 degrees up to +15 degrees, and today we had around 20 up to 34 degrees Celsius. And you can see it in the consumption. I don't think that it is really important if I air condition or if I heat the interior, if music is running or stuff. This could be taken out of the equation. One thing that counts, that was the traffic jam, unfortunately, but I cannot change it. And if you look at this, yet in summertime we had 15.8 kilowatt hours, 100 kilometers. That's 4 kilowatt hours less than in spring and autumn time with 19.7. And even 6 kilowatt hours less than in winter time with 21.6 kilowatt hours, 100 kilometers. And don't forget, there are over 1,000 meters in altitude, which I went up and down again. And here kicks regeneration in, of course. But if you compare this from summertime now in a diesel equivalent, we are talking 9.8 kilowatt hours, 1 liter diesel. We are talking about 1.5 liters diesel for 100 kilometers with the car, way over 2 tons. And there you can see it, what an EV is capable of. And I'm quite satisfied with this. 15.8 in summertime for this course is a really, really good result. Of course, I know this is not really the absolute truth. In the end, there's a driver sitting on the seat who drives the car, which can compromise the results, and the dynamic situation in traffic also takes into credit. But in the end, I'm pretty sure these results are quite good. What do you think? Write me in the comments. Did you expect these differences? What are your experiences in winter or summer? And don't you think that this is quite good for such an SUV? Just write it in the comments. If you like this video, please leave a thumbs up and maybe consider to subscribe, because it really helps me out and helps the channel to grow. Also, I'm always very happy about small donations via PayPal or YouTube thanks, because I can invest this money directly into the channel and the equipment I use. So if you want, please do so. I would be very grateful. And then we will see each other again in the next video. And until then, stay full of energy.